What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the MMA Archive recap / look ahead show. I'm joined by my guy, WizzBets. Can you please, off the top, let everyone know where they could find your stuff at, man?
So I'm back. This is like the third or the fourth time. Third time, right?
I think it's the third time. Yep.
Yeah. So you guys probably know me by now. It's WizzBets on Twitter. Only have Twitter right now. Still in the process of doing the whole YouTube thing. One day, soon. But yeah, WizzBets on Twitter and ready to break down this card and do this look ahead.
Heck yeah, man. It was an awesome card last week, too. Another sleeper that the hardcores were in there. We're hyped. We were looking forward to it, and I think it delivered. I don't even coming off of a crazy event like UFC Austin. I think last week delivered big time. So I'm excited to jump right into that. But man, I'm curious. Is there any big bets that stood out for you this weekend? Stuff that you want to highlight as far as takeaways from your week?
I mean, for this past Saturday, I'll highlight a mistake first. And this was falling for the hype, which the hype is warranted, but I did force Omar Nurmagomedov inside the distance bet, which I shouldn't have done, and I did it just like last minute because I was like, no, there's no way that he lets him get out of there. When in my head, I knew Nate Menez is just a tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a mistake on my end, and it hurt my pockets just a little bit. My ROI could have been a lot more. So that's something to take away from the night. Other than that, Tafan Chukwi is a bum.
Oh man, that's another spot that hurt me. So we talk about regrets. I'm glad I didn't play that one. I picked it on the show. I did say that I thought Nchukwi was going to win for all the reasons that I think make sense as far as his ability to work at the clinch, his ability to get to the clinch. Did we see that at all? Of course not.
No,
of course not. Why would the tape lie to us? I don't know, but hey, it makes sense. I shout out to Oberg too. I think that was a big step up for him, not only with the way it happened, but just mentally firing off early. Yeah. I think that'll be good for his next fight to see how he bounced back from that too. But another mistake that I made, the only untracked bet that I made for this weekend, I know I told you I didn't make any, I lied, was a two-legger. And I was feeling good in my two-legger when Shavkat got the finish against Neil Magny. One leg cashed. I'm feeling amazing. And then the main event happens. And
no, you didn't.
Yes, no. I did. Yes, I did. I did the greasy, chalky two-legger. And what happened? And what happened? I personally still believe that Saryukin won this fight, so I don't feel like it's a bad bet. But at the same time, I think I'm really going to think about my role in spots like this in the future and whether or not it's just going to be dog or pass, because I feel like there shouldn't have been that much sweat, to be honest.
He did not cover that price tag at all.
Yep.
That was a minus 120 fight, like minus 120, minus 110. So it's like in those spots, you really have to go dog or pass.
For sure.
But it's tough. It's tough. Like hindsight's 2020. I mean, obviously this just happened and we already know the outcome. But before the fight, everyone thought Saryukin was just gonna maul him and just take him down and keep him there. When it was the opposite, Gamrot was taking him down.
Yep.
So you live and you learn. We make these mistakes so we can learn from it, hopefully, and then down the line we come better and better.
Heck yeah, man. And I'm excited. I'm gonna start throwing my track stuff out there. You're gonna laugh at my unit size, but hey, you gotta learn somewhere and you gotta start somewhere. So excited to do that and show those sheets every day. I mean every week. I think it's important to be transparent, especially since I want to take this a little bit more seriously now. So my journey to doing that includes no tape study, just straight off of memory, going through these lines with you, getting an idea of where they are, where they land. I haven't looked at them at all at the moment just yet, and I'm not going to be making any plays right now, but I'm definitely going to be using what we talk about today to just sort of inform where I'm headed for the week. So I'm excited, man. Big pay-per-view as well with UFC 276. I'm so hype about this one, and I don't know if you felt the same way, but I was looking at I was setting up the doc. I'm looking at the lineup. A, it's a fucking amazing card. B, I'm getting old, bro. Like we creeping on UFC 300. Like when I made that, I'm like, man, we're right there.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
But that's gonna take us a couple years to get to 300.
I
Believe
know.
it or not. Like 4 years.
Yep.
Yeah, 4 to 5 years until 300.
200 was what, 2015?
Was it? No, it can't be. They didn't do 100 events in 100 main events, like main cards in
2016. 2016. I was a year
What?
off. Yep. July 9th, 2016.
In my head, I think like 30 like pay-per-views would take like 4 or 5 years because like say 10 a year. I don't know. My math is off.
I feel
But
like now the amount has gotten higher, but I agree. It's about a good 6 or 7 years to get
mhm,
to 100, which is crazy.
yeah.
I felt like that event was yesterday. The fact that that's 2016 is fucking
Who
nuts, to
highlighted
be honest.
200? I don't remember honestly. As bad as that sounds. I don't remember who was the main event.
Yeah, because it got shuffled around so many damn times. I had a talk real quick. I was trying to convince my family at this time to like be on the ride with me every week. I had to hype up the main event for this fight card like 3 times, bro. Like, no, we're still gonna watch it. Something changed, but and I'm just telling them on the new main event. The main event ended up being Amanda Nunes as the challenger coming up against Misha Tate. But the original main event was John Jones versus DC2.
Oh, okay. Now I remember this card. Now I remember this card. Okay.
Yes, sir. The card where we got honestly one of the more bizarre cards if you think about it. I mean, it was still stacked 100% and it
Uh-huh.
delivered in a lot of ways. But one of the more bizarre cards as far as who fought and the way it played out, the yellow piss mat.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm interested to see how that goes for UFC 300 as well. But anyway, I just got to say this because I got to talk my shit. You know what I'm saying? We mentioned how you've been on the show 3 times. As far as head-to-head picks, I'm 2-1 at the moment. Now, I got to be honest, I shouldn't be happy because the last event, both of us barely, barely came away with any dubs. I just got to say this, barely came away with any dubs. I was
That was
six
a
and
bad
five.
event, okay?
I was 6-5. You were 4-7. I was like, I'll take that dub, but damn, we were struggling. Both of us were struggling.
Oh
But
yeah,
not this time. We're gonna kill it this week for sure. I'm
mhm.
excited to cover.
Listen, the tracked bets are where they're at. These picks, I still need to finalize some tape study. We
We're
know
talking
this
through it. We're
is an
talking
early breakdown. Who does an early breakdown as early as this? Come on.
Got to give the people what they want. And hey,
Exactly.
use it to inform your shit or not. But hey, make sure you're looking at the tape as well. Don't just listen because I don't think we're throwing out bets on a whim here. We're gonna be talking about what we think can play out, and then we'll see if the tape backs it up. God damn it! But it's
Mhm.
gonna be a good one for sure. But I want to start with last yesterday. If we're being candid, there was a lot of good fights. To be frank, from the beginning of the night. Is there anything you want to highlight and talk about that we haven't already got to from yesterday's event?
No, I mean, if you want, we can just go through like a little speed run between all these fights. There's a decent amount of them, but we could just speed run through them. I mean, we start with the first fight with Demopoulos and Jinyu Frey. How how was there a 30-27 scorecard for Demopoulos? First of all, how did Demopoulos win?
Yep.
Because I did not see her winning the fight. It was close. I had no bet on this, thankfully. I'm so smart. I'm staying in the head. A lot of people had Demopoulos. You know what? Cool, good for them. I did
I
not
think it
want
was the
any.
split. I think it was the split. The split convinced
Yeah,
him.
I, yeah, but I don't know how they scored 30-27 Demopoulos, but you know what? Happy for her.
Yeah, I was gonna say I hope that the outcome, as far as the judging, doesn't taint the fact that it was a good damn fight. Like it was fun. We don't get a lot of those fun fights to
Uh-huh.
start cards off, especially in, let's be honest, women's MMA. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the fight, but I do agree. I don't think she won. So the fact that there was a 30-27 is fucking
Yeah,
nuts.
I don't know how there was a 30-27.
Crazy. Yeah. Shout out to Jinyu Fry, man. I think she's, don't get me wrong. she has been in a couple of fights that have gave me pain as far as it being a very boring fight. But she brought it this time and didn't get rewarded for it, damn it. But it's tough. It's tough. Next up, we had Mario Bautista beating Brian Kelleher. What the hell? What the hell happened? Like, can we talk about Brian Kelleher's career before we get to how you crushed it with this bet?
Man, Mario Bautista just looked like an animal. He was in that training room with O'Malley and who's the second guy that's fighting out of their camp this weekend? It's O'Malley and this is gonna bug me if I don't remember. Ah, do you know? Oh, Jalen Turner? No. Anyways, there's two fighters on the UFC 276 that are training for fights, and Bautista trains with them. One of them being O'Malley, and he apparently wanted to be on 276, but couldn't get the spot. Obviously, he went out there and showed us why he needs to be considered as a threat to this division, because holy, he just mauled Brian Kelleher. No one expected him to be the one taking Kelleher down. That was insane. And then the way he did that little like move to flip him on his back and get the choke, that on its own, I was just amazed.
Dude. And there's something to developing in the UFC. Like, let's get it. People had a weird perception on Mario Bautista coming into this. Like, the dude's only losses were to Corey Sandhagen, Trevin Jones. Like, these are legit fighters. And obviously, the Trevin Jones one, a little bit more questionable, but the dude has power. Exactly. And that's the equalizer. But I thought it was crazy the way he was able to jump on the neck, secure it real quick. I don't know, man. I didn't expect that shit at all, to be honest. And definitely a good moment for him.
Definitely. Next, we have Cody Durden and JP Bays. JP Bays failed to win back his bay and got knocked out instead of showing her that he can get a knockout, kind of like how Roman Dolitza did last week. But
oh man,
yeah, Cody Durden
Cuck it in the corner.
Yeah, Cody Durden came out and showed us that he really wanted to stay in the UFC, because if he lost, I mean, honestly, I think JB Bays is out of the UFC now. It was kind of like a win or be cut kind of fight.
And dude just steamrolled him too. Like, as much as I dislike Durden,
I hate
dude's
him.
good. Dude's good. He's gonna be a good heel. I think he's gonna be one of the more outspoken, annoying fucks in the division, and that'll keep him around. So we'll see how that goes.
He doesn't have a chin, in my opinion, but we'll see. Someone will expose him again.
For sure. But enough people will care that he'll stay around. That's the most important thing.
Oh, yeah.
Sergey Morozov versus Raleigh Paiva. Dude,
danger of a fight.
Heck yeah. And before this fight started, I was like, if there's anyone that I legitimately feel bad for, it's Paiva, because he's in these fights all the time. Like, there's not a fight where he does not have to walk through hell for it. And he ends up on the wrong side of a lot of these decisions too. So tough break for him. But this fight was awesome, dude.
What did you think about the decision? Did you agree with it?
I think it was close enough that you could make an argument, but I did agree with it. I think the top control, while the criteria says that we shouldn't necessarily be leaning into it, I think it was significant enough to warrant it. What about you?
Yeah, no, same. I had a bet on it, so this might sound biased, but I think so. I try to be as unbiased as I can when it comes to, like, even when I tweet out like the live scorecards that what I think the round scores are. Try to be as unbiased as I can. You know, sometimes if I'm, you know, a little woozy, a little off the drink, I'm a little biased. But other than that, I mean, Morozov, he got hit clean in the chin, you know, those first couple punches, which obviously those first couple punches, whenever you start a fight, are going to hit you the hardest. You're still getting used to being in a fight. So it's kind of like how we used to talk about the flash knockouts, where I don't put really any stock into them. First minute knockouts, not too impressive usually, because it's the easiest time to get a knockout. But really showed that he could climb his way back out of a hole and win the next two rounds. That second round wrestling was legit and top control and damage. And then in the third round, dude was still hopping, and I was surprised because he's known to gas. And Paiva being the one moving up a weight class, I thought he would have the advantage in the third round because of that. And no, Morozov was just putting it on him, and then he got the takedown and really brought it to Paiva in that third. Impressive win. But I
There's
will
really something to be said about guys waking up after those first knockdowns. But yeah, this was a fucking firefight. Like there was a lot of times where Morozov was coming on hard and really tagging him as well with nasty uppercuts. This fight was a banger. Please check it out if you haven't watched it. But next up, I'm not even gonna try it. No, you know what? We do it for the people. We do it for the people. Shailan Nurambeke versus TJ Brown. I'm not gonna lie. I did not watch this fight closely. I was driving, so I need to hear your analysis. But it was two blonde dudes going at it. Same platinum.
Yep, same platinum. One with a mohawk, the other just blonde.
Yeah. From what I saw, top control of Noram Beckett was the story. Am I correct on this?
Dude, yeah. And he was throwing punches from a guy that landed like 10 punches in his last fight to actually throwing haymakers, dude. He was landing them. He had TJ Brown wobbled for a couple times. I was very impressed. He was the underdog, just FYI for everyone. Northern Becker was the underdog. Really put it on TJ Brown. A lot of people said TJ Brown is probably the most confident pick this week, the most confident bet. And I was like, I might agree, but he does not have the fight IQ. So just be careful. And you know what? I was careful.
Hey, if you're a grown man with uptown TJ Brown, we got to talk. You know what I'm saying? We got to talk.
Yeah, he just shut the bed. Like for some reason, he just kept accepting that bottom position. He was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna try and get a Kimura off my back." And he tried for it for so long, and just paid for it. He really paid for it.
Anthony Pettis like ground game there, where you're believing in whatever you have, believing in whatever you got. But next up, Alberg getting a big knockout against Tafon and Chukwi in the first round. This one makes me look stupid on the last edition, UFC 15 of the MMA Archive. I made the pick of saying I think Alberg was going to go down in this one. I still don't feel bad about the way I rationalized it to myself and to the people, but at the same time, I do admit Alberg looked damn good, man. What did you think about that one?
Yeah, I mean, in Chukwi just took way too long to throw a single punch, and I was on the same side. Like I thought Chukwi was gonna grind him on the cage, probably take him down, and just grind him down there for 3 rounds. But we didn't even get to see him throw a punch, so I don't know what was going on there. And after, what really surprised me was after the beating he took from Murzakanov, like all those punches, Murzakanov was landing heavy punches on him. His chin held up. To go to Alberg, who just annihilated him like that, I was very surprised. But maybe that flying knee knockout in his last fight affected his chin. Maybe coming back too quick.
Yeah, especially to get rocked that bad off of it was a sneaky little hook, but it didn't look like it was too much of a crazy punch in that way. So yeah, I agree. Tough break there for Nchukwi. Next up, Chris Curtis beating Rodolfo Vieira, another one that I was on the wrong side of, but I gotta say, man, I love me some action, man. I think he's filled out beautifully at this weight class, and just the defensive wrestling in this one was demoralizing to watch. So I could only imagine how it felt being in there.
I've tried to fade action, man. This is the 3rd time in a row. I've been on the wrong side, obviously, 3 times in a row. I'm just not impressed with his striking. That's the thing. I don't really think this guy's legit, but my idea for this bet was he's going to get taken down. He's going to get subbed. It's Rodolfo Vieira. I didn't think his takedown defense was that good, but you know what? Props to him. I got to give him his flowers. Great fight. Great performance, defending 20 takedowns. But also we got to give some credit to Vieira for the improved striking game. So that's another
and
thing.
Sticking to it too. Sticking to it when he had to go through the fire to get into any exchange.
Yeah, not many people want to be in a firefight with Chris Curtis.
Yeah. Exactly. And what was most impressive to me about Chris Curtis's performance, though, just to say it like this, takedown defense starts on the feet too, and he really did a good job of keeping him away and hurting him a lot to the body consistently
Dude,
to
those
sort of
body
punish him
shots
from
were
coming in.
nuts.
Yeah,
Those body shots were nuts.
dude.
Yeah, props to him.
Yep,
Next,
punishing him on the way in. Go ahead.
oh yeah, those liver shots they were hurting me, and like some of them were catching that bottom rib. And every single time, my mom was like looking at this fight. She was watching it with me. She's like, in Arabic, she's like, "This guy is an animal. He keeps hitting him in the liver. Does he want to make him sleep?" I'm like,
That's exactly what it wants. It's what we all want.
That was hilarious. But next we have Omar Nurmagomedov against Nate Maness. I'm just gonna keep this one short and sweet. Omar, 3 rounds, just laid on him. Nate Maness really just closed his guard, and he didn't want to get finished, so that was his game plan. And that's exactly what happened. He didn't get finished, but he lost. Like one of the scorecards was 30-26.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah.
I think it's 25 too. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, one of them was 25. Yeah, one of them was 25.
25, I think. Yeah.
Crazy. My favorite moment of that fight, though, that kick he landed on the feet. Umar coming up, it looked like it reminded me of a scorpion, bro. Like the way it came. Yeah, exactly.
Nasty. That was nasty.
Not a typical angle you see on a push kick at all.
Nope.
Trying to push kick his chin into the lights above. But next up, we had Thiago Moises beating Christos Giagos by submission. This is exactly what I thought was going to happen. So the fact that it played out that way was tough.
Dude, I need some people to put some respect on Moises' name, because a lot of people were trying to fade him yesterday after that Joel Alvarez performance. And I'm like, don't be too quick to put a man down after like 2 bad losses. I get it.
They're fighting a giant. Let's make that clear. A giant at the weight class.
Yeah. Now, like, he's the definition of a weight bully.
Yep.
Definition of a weight bully. So I don't know what you want from him. And to go against Giagos, who obviously, like TJ Brown, poor fight IQ. That was just so easy. That the way he climbed on his back, he made it look like a minus 500 right there.
Yeah, legit. And you could see after the way he tapped too, he was just defeated. It's the best way to put it. Like, damn, like this is what we thought was gonna happen, and it's what happened.
Yep, and
tough break for sure.
The way he transitioned to get that neck, because it took him a little bit to get under the neck.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't the initial shot.
It was just beautiful.
Constantly pummeling, dude. I love the way he does that too, switching side to side, and then he'll usually start out just cranking the chin, not even underneath the neck, just trying to make an uncomfortable switch, and it was beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yep.
I just gotta say too, real quick, I just feel bad for Giagos. I feel like he's never really been able to show a lot of his potential in his UFC fights specifically. I've seen him have a lot of fun fights outside the UFC too. Just feel like he hasn't been able to bring that consistently in his UFC run. Probably done for as well for a second time, which is tough.
Probably.
All right, next up.
Alain Baudot, the people's main event against Josh Parisian.
This was every Alain Baudot fight, right? So dumb.
I have no words. If it was Herb Dean reffing, it would have been over for Parisian. But I like the comeback. It wasn't as bad as people thought this fight was gonna be.
Yep.
People thought this was gonna be a snooze fest, but you know what? It was a pretty goddamn good fight.
Dude, I don't know how anyone thought this was gonna be it was gonna be murder or kill. There was nothing in between, bro.
So low level.
Yeah. It's tough, but I like it. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not a bougie MMA fan. Give me a fight like that over Namajunas versus Carlos Esparza 2 any day.
I mean, give me any fight instead of that, to be honest with you. Yeah, I wasted time from my life to watch that fight.
Yeah,
and I couldn't believe it. I was just happy that I cashed the bet on Esparza.
I'm even more mad at myself because I watched it twice, and the second time was willingly.
Why would you watch it?
The second time was willingly. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't like too high to like understand what was happening. No, yeah, it was actually better upon rewatch. It's more fun than you would think, because you know that it's a bad fight. So like you get to have fun with it. In the moment, it was absolutely horrible,
There was no
horrendous
way
stuff.
I'm saying that fight was fun to watch. There was no
Watch it.
way.
I promise you that when you see the feints of Namajunas, she was sold that it was working, and
Yeah,
it was not.
yeah. That's tough.
Anyway,
Anyways,
we'll move
next
on.
fight, we got Shavkat Rakhmonov against Neil Magny. Oh man, people thought there was gonna be a vet lesson surprise here, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
Dude, you're smoking drugs.
Man, the way Shavkat handled Magny,
From the opening bell, dude.
that was impressive. That was
Dude,
impressive because he didn't have a single ounce of pressure from Magny. And Magny couldn't do anything, nothing
dude.
to stop what Shavkat had.
A minute into the first, already getting into mount, and easily as well. Like the neon belly is so nasty for Shavkat. Like
Yeah.
it is so nasty. I love see that's one of my favorite positions, especially in MMA, because I trust me, I've been there many times with my gi, my little fat ass sitting in, and it fucking sucks. So I can only imagine
Hurts.
with a demon like that on top of you. I, if you weren't sold already, the fact that the complexion of his fights looks the same, even though the competition is going up, really speaks to the level he's at, man.
hmm Exactly. Exactly. And I might have a hot take here, but it's just like, call me crazy, but I think he's better than Kamzat, in my opinion. Just pure skill all around. I think his striking is better, and the ground game pretty equal. I think Kamzat has the better wrestling, but the grappling side goes to
Exactly.
Shavkat for sure. And I rate grappling more than wrestling.
And just the finesse as well on the feet. Like
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest part of it.
so
He's such an
calm.
the way he steps off things. He's just a very natural striker, which is hard to
Man,
find in dominant grapplers like that.
he's so calm. But you know what really made me happy was that he put an effort to learn English. So after the fight, the way he was like, I want Stephen Thompson, that helps you market yourself as a fighter, just being able to speak English like that after a dominant performance. Yeah, good for him. The sky's the limit for this guy.
Yep. Shout out to his manager as well. I'm terrible for not knowing his name, but he's on whenever I see him with anyone, I'm like, I gotta look out for this guy. Cause that also coming up with Peter Yan and a couple of other just demons from that side of the world. So
Yep.
next up, the main event. We already touched on it a little bit. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we move on?
Not really. I think the main round that people are complaining about is round 3. The rest I think was pretty clear in my opinion. Round 5 and 4 was I was about to say Gamzat. Uh Gamra, and then round 1 and 2 are clearly Arman. So round 3 was the one that was in question because of the knockdown from Arman, and then the wrestling from Gamra. Who scores it which way? What kind of judging? It's a constant question we have. So what's scored? What's more valuable? We're never gonna end. It's never gonna end.
Dude, I just gotta say this fight, give me fights like this more often. I don't want any stupid ass heavyweight men events. Give me fights
That
like
was
this more
amazing.
often. Dude, this was up there with one of the better fights that I've seen, and this was you could argue not ideal situations for either of these guys as far as the position they're in. Crazy. So that was awesome to watch. I have nothing to complain
Yeah.
about, even though the judging kind of fucks up the way you come away feeling after these fights. Don't forget how good of a fight this was, because we don't get action like this on the regular. This is high level MMA for sure.
One thing I just feel sorry for Arman's next opponent because that dude's gonna get whooped.
Dude,
Whoever his
those
next opponent
elbows,
is,
they're coming. Those elbows are coming. And just the
he's
way
gonna
he
come back
was
like an
super
animal, kind of like
disappointed.
how Calvin Cater came back against Giga. I feel.
Mm, just a prolonged beating. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And I wonder how they're gonna match make them too, because I feel like you don't come off a fight like this as if you lost. Like you end up still in that top 10
Not at all.
range.
They'll probably give him like number 10. Who's number 10 in the division right now? That's my question.
It's also a division that is in need of turnover. Let's just make that clear too. There's a lot of names in that top
Yeah,
15.
yeah. I mean, maybe they'll give him Tony Ferguson.
Don't don't do that to me. Not on my show, bro. Don't give me this pain. Don't bring me this
Dude,
pain,
you know
brother.
what? I just got to be honest. Maybe
You know
Tony
what I
Ferguson.
need? I need the winner of
Tony Ferguson is going to become the Neil Magny of 155.
no, never. It's already way past that point. Give me Tony Ferguson versus the winner of Cerrone and Jim Miller. Okay, that's what I want.
So Jim Miller.
Yeah, 100%. We'll get into that in a second. But let's start off UFC 276 right, man. This is an awesome card, and
Oh,
there's a
thank
couple
God.
matchups that it's kind of crazy. The year is flying by. Like, there's a couple matchups here that I remember my exact thoughts when they were booked. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I know how this one's gonna go, and boom, we're here. So I'm excited to see where I land on these picks. I'm gonna be posting them out throughout the week as far as more specific stuff. But
Sir.
excited to jump into these. Jessica Rose Clark versus Julija Storyalenko. We getting these names ready, baby.
The disclaimer to everyone again. This is an early breakdown. Obviously, some things we say might not be clear or well thought out in a sense. Just because I mean we're still doing tape study, we're still looking out and seeing the numbers and stuff. So this is just an early breakdown. I don't want anyone to fall for the narrative or like come at either of us for the you know
Come
wrong.
at me. I wish you would. How about that? Come at me. Because I'm half a J in, and I promise I'm putting my thoughts better together than you ever could on a show like this. So come at me. Bring it, bring it. That's what I need.
All right, let's get it going.
All right. So this first fight of the night.
Stoliarenko.
Yes, sir.
What do you think?
This is gonna end up at some point with Jessica Rose Clark being in that final position, right about to get armbarred. Whether or not she gets armbarred is what's gonna make the decision on who wins this fight. Um, I'm a fan of Jessica Rose Clark. I thought with the progression that we saw against Jocelyn Edwards that things were trending in the right direction. Since then, we've had a couple come to earth moments, some realizations of her upper bound limits in the division. This is a tough one. I think I couldn't imagine a time where I would pick Julija over her just based on the matchup. But this is a fight that I would not ever feel comfortable putting a dime on, just because no matter how much I want to say that I'm picking Jessica Rose Clark, I will not be surprised if Julija beats the crap out of her on the ground and gets a submission, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not even gonna try and add anything to that because you just broke it down the exact way that I would have. I like Jessica Rose Clark. I do, but it's similar to what we were talking about TJ Brown earlier. Her fight IQ is just not all there. She's been training more and more, like follow her on Instagram and try to follow up, like see who she's training with. And she's been in the gym with some killers. So hopefully we'll get a better outing, but no, I will have no money on this fight. Even though I've seen a lot of people put ridiculous amounts on Rose Clark already. I'm like, whoa. I mean, you could be beating the line. You could be smarter than all of us, but it's just to me, I don't want to have to go through a mental breakdown during one of these fights again.
Yeah, I feel that. And especially when you think you're up too, because that's how this is gonna go too. I think she's gonna win the first round, and then from there it's gonna be just letting go of the reins slowly. Kind of how these fights always go.
Yep.
All right, so we're both officially going with Jessica Rose Clark, though, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Perfect. Next up, Brad Tavares versus Dricus Duplessis. Beautiful.
This is a flamethrower of a matchup.
Heck yeah. I just want to say this might be up there. Listen, it is Pride Month. I'm a very straight man, but I will give it up, man. This is up there as far as matchups, right? Like but this is like the all bodied up. If you got a friend at the party that's interested in men, you point to this fight. This is the fight that they need to watch for all the ladies that are showing up on fight night.
Yep.
All right.
Tough.
Our picks on this one. This matchup, dude, I just gotta say, my heart is with Brad Tavares, but everything is telling me that he's gonna get washed in this one. I'm leaning Dricus but
I think Drake is.
I know who I want to win, but who I think is going to win is Dricus du Plessis.
I think Drake is gonna mollywop him.
Yeah,
honestly,
it's going to be tough. Yeah,
it's gonna be tough because Drake is just so clean with everything he does on the feet. Um,
he's a little rope, but the power is significant.
Yeah, yeah. His jab is just like on a leash. He throws that thing with intent, and it's snappy. Tavares ain't no slouch on the feet either, so I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps it close. But in my opinion, I just think the striking from Dricus is just going to be too much. Let me see the reach advantage here.
I think another sad thing, real quick, but while you look that up, is like at this point of Brad Tavares' career, I feel like he's not willing to get into these exchanges the way Dricus forces them. Like there is no thought in his mind of who's coming out on top of that exchange when he throws, in no matter who he's fighting. And in this matchup specifically, I think that's going to pay dividends. What is the
100%.
lengths?
Dricus has a 2-inch reach advantage. So they are the same height. He has a 6-year age advantage. He opened up as a plus 170 favorite. Favorite plus 170 dog, and now he's bet all the way to a minus 120 favorite.
That's crazy. I think that should be even wider. To be honest, I might consider.
I forgot we were gonna do the. Oh
yes, it's all good. We'll start with the next one.
Yeah. What do you think about the Jessica Rose Clark fight? Odds.
Okay. What they should be. I would say, if I was the bookie, I would be minus 115 Jessica Rose Clark.
Minus 140.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yep. We already know that
it might be a little value for the degenerates, but I'm staying away from that one. And then this one, you already told me it's at minus 2 something. Yeah, I feel like there's value there, in my opinion. So I'm excited. I think I might hop on that too.
Yes, sir.
This is honestly one of those fights that I wish was a 5-rounder, though. Like, this could be a 5-rounder. This could be a 5-rounder. I think it'll favor Brad Tavares in that scenario. Obviously, if he doesn't get finished, but it's a matter of getting it there, and I don't think it will.
True that.
All right.
Also, we're both in that Dricus, I'm assuming.
Yes, both of us are. Right. I got that written in. Next up, Jessica Eye versus Macy Barber. This one's gonna be tough. I'm gonna say minus 180 Macy Barber.
You're pretty close. Minus 245.
Damn, yeah, that's way bigger than I thought.
And I gotta say I agree with it. I don't think this line is wide. We've just seen the downfall of Jessica Eye over her past couple fights. In her last 5, she's only won 1. Yeah. And that was against Araujo, your girl.
Yeah. Nobody was willing to jump on that plane with me, baby, but I got
Man. Yeah, you just see the downfall. And Macy Barber in her last fight against De La Rosa, she showed a new Macy Barber. She showed that she's all in, like she's ready. I think she's matured a little bit since those couple of losses that she had and then injury. She's matured a lot. So I'm excited to see her fight. I'll probably have her in some sort of bet.
Nice.
Not too surprised if she finishes her.
Yeah, I mean, after you get put out like that, you definitely feel more vulnerable to that. Jessica Eye is another person that for some reason since the beginning I've wanted to root for her, especially like knowing her story before she came into the UFC. But yeah, at this point, if you're putting money on Jessica Eye, we need to talk, brother. We need to talk.
We don't
you'll
see
be better off. Yeah. How dare you? I was about to say something way worse than that, and then you know what? You got it. I'm not even gonna say it. I was gonna be like, you could spend your money a little bit more wisely on Eye. So if you want to spend your money a little bit more wisely, there might be some things you could use that $10 for. Shout out to Jessica Eye's OnlyFans. But anyway,
no,
we're both going to, because it's atrocious, and she has this 1,000-yard stare that I I can't quite get behind. But a lot of men do find her attractive, so that's interesting.
I don't know how.
Yeah.
He's grown. All right, next we have Uriah Hall and Andre Muniz. What do you think the line is here? Because this is going to be
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah. Um, if this line is, if I'm entirely off on this, I'm 100% making a bet on this. I'm gonna say Andre Muniz is gonna be a slight dog, so I'm gonna say Uriah Hall minus 130.
You are so off. I would love for you to take another guess, please.
Okay. What I where I think the value is, I would say, let's see. I'm not gonna go that wide. There's no way it's that wide. Muniz minus 160.
Muniz minus 270.
Wow.
The disrespect.
I'm glad they're on the right side, but damn, I thought I was gonna get some value out of this one. Interesting.
Disrespect.
I mean, I don't blame him. I don't
I
blame him.
agree. I agree. Muniz should be a favorite, but like, I'm not counting Uriah out of this.
Same.
I'm probably gonna go with Muniz. He's probably gonna be in one of my parlays, as stupid as that sounds. But I'd be hitting these parlays.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I agree. Muniz should be a favorite. Probably, yeah, I would have said minus 190 is the right line. Maybe we'll see some buyback on Uriah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll wait on this one before I pull the trigger.
Yeah, honestly, I'm considering a dog shot there because that's super wide. I didn't expect that at all. I thought this is gonna sound casual as fuck of me right now. But I thought the red corner bias was gonna be real in this one. Apparently not. So I'm interested. I'm interested to see how that one plays out.
We'll see.
I'm going with Muniz though. Are you too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're lining up so far. We're
Yeah,
probably going to line up on the next one too. I can already tell.
I think this one is going to be another crazy first round submission. Honestly, I think it's going to catch him in a weird transition. But next up, Jim Miller, Donald Cerrone.
Mm-hmm.
This is the all-time sadness fight right here. Two guys. Honestly, Tony Ferguson and Donald Cerrone. Now that I have to talk about that, it really pains me just because a couple years ago, I really felt like I was investing in Bitcoin, you know, like I felt like I was in the right spot, you know, and right now it's looking tough, kind of how Bitcoin is at the moment too. So hey, hold baby, we'll see what happens. But I'm saying Jim Miller should be at least minus 180, right?
He is at least minus 180.
Okay, go ahead, tell me.
220. Yeah, I had to pull up a second book because my other one for some reason had it grayed out.
Damn. The movement.
And here's the thing, it's like the main reason why I will probably be betting on this fight alone is the fact that Cerrone has had to cut down to 155 twice in the past 4 months. And now this fight going to 170, his body is probably destroyed. If it was a younger dude, a younger buck, okay, I get it. Probably have a bigger chance of winning. But the dude is 39. Stuff like that is going to destroy you for a couple months. That weight cut over and over again. And he looked terrible on the scales last weekend. Ooh. So
it's not often that this happens, but I'm not going to lie, it kind of does pain me when we're in a situation where guys are fighting for the second time and they're just so far removed from who they were. And a lot of the times it happens like it's happening in this one, where one guy is actually kind of surprising at this point of their career and doing better and getting more technical, especially with the lower body attack. Shout out to Jim Miller doing his damn thing. But it's so weird to see the way certain people fall off versus the way certain people come on later in their career. I think it's all matchup dependent too. And I think that's what really makes me feel confident. Just the way Jim Miller is a bat out of hell, no matter who he's fighting. I think that's going to be big for him round one. You might even want to sprinkle on that round one. I don't even know what the line is,
Round
but
one KO is my prediction here. Round one KO.
yeah, for sure. And that's so sad, but at this point, there's not, you can't really expect much else. I mean, Alex Morono, like, I love the guy. Don't get me wrong, but if it's tough when you're getting finished by guys like that. So yeah, got to go with Jim Miller on this one.
100%.
Next up, this fight, dude. I'm pumped on this.
When I want to know what you say.
I'm pumped on this. I'm pumped on this. I'm so pumped on this. I think I'm gonna be wrong, but this should be Gabe Green minus 160.
Ooh, wrong. Yeah. So it's actually Ian Gary minus 165.
Wow. Do you agree with that? Do you see where I'm coming from with this?
No, I think it's a pick 'em.
Really? Okay.
I would say pick 'em. Here's the thing. I think Gabe Green is gonna win this fight. Just sole reason, the guy is a zombie. Like we've seen it. We've seen him get hit by people with more power. Example, his last fight, Lannis, and he survived. And what did he do? He's a cardio machine. He just handled him. After that 7.5 minute mark, he handled Lannis, took him down, and those shots just destroyed him. Now, Ian Gary has better striking than Lannis, 100%. Not better, not more power. Surprisingly, I thought Ian Gary was going to have a huge reach advantage, only 1 inch. Height is where it's going to come into factor, though, because that punching up kind of reduces that reach for you. So it's going to be a little bit tougher to actually crack him in the jaw. But I'm ultimately probably going to stay away. I'm trying to be more disciplined with my spots now, just because like I do agree with the dog being the side here, but I just don't want to make a bet where I'm unsure, because I do see a way for Ian Gary winning a decision. It's either Ian Gary decision or Gabe Green, any which way he wants it.
Yeah. And my big issue with this fight, and the reason why I lined it the way I did, and honestly, I think I might play it just because the value's there 100%. I feel like Gabe Green is someone that, you got to put him out, and that's a hard thing to do. And then B, I feel like Ian Gary takes a lot of pictures. He stays in front of guys, especially after landing. And I think that's the worst thing to do in a matchup like this with someone who's going to come at you at every chance that they get. I think it can play into Gary's advantage too, though. So I'm a little interested to see. I think that first round is going to be the sweatiest first round if you're betting Gabe Green. But I think after the first is where we're going to see things really, the tide's going to shift. And I knew when I saw this matchup, this was the one, because I talked about this a couple months ago now at this point, where I was like, I feel like Ian Gary's going to be an auto fade for me very soon, and this is the matchup, I guess, for me. So I'm going Gabe Green. What's your official pick? Official, unofficial pick.
Gabe Green. Got to go with the hometown boys. He trains like 15 minutes away from me, Downey, California. Shout out.
Hey, I like it. I like it. Next up, pour one out, baby. Pour one out. Pour one out. Robbie Lawler versus Brian Barberena. Dude, this fight is going to be fun for all the wrong reasons. Like all the wrong reasons. I think it's going to deliver big time. But the fact that, like, this is another one of those examples, like, with all due respect, Robbie Lawler should never be it should never be considered whether Violent Bob Lawler is going to have a tough fight against Brian Barberena. A couple years ago, that would be unthinkable. And now I'm downright close to leaning with Barberena. But honestly, I feel like we've seen a lot of the tread come off those tires as well in his recent fights. So you know what? I'm going Violent Bob Lawler, baby, just for nostalgia reasons, 100%.
Let's see what thoughts.
Oh yes. Let me make my guess here. This has to be close to a pick'em, right? I hope so. I'm gonna go Robbie Lawler minus 130.
Right on the number.
Let's go. I get at least one of these, baby. I get at least one of them.
Nice. And you know what? I gotta go with Lawler. I will not bet this fight. I will not. I refuse. You never know what happens.
1-800-GAMBLER territory.
1-800-GAMBLER, exactly. One dude just slows down completely after one round in Barberena. Lawler, you just don't know what to expect from him at 40. I really don't want to bet on a 40-year-old. It's very, very rare where I'm going to bet on a 40-year-old, but I might do it on Jim Miller. So he's 38. He's getting there. He's not 40 yet. He hasn't broken a rule.
Especially if we get a good contender series matchup, you gotta auto hit that.
Oh yeah, 100%. Next we have Brad Rydell and Jalen Turner. What's your prediction?
This one is tough. This one is tough. What I think the line is and what I think it should be is two different things. I'm just gonna say for my prediction. I'm gonna say for my prediction. Fuck it. Jalen Turner minus 140.
He's minus 120.
Yeah. I knew it. This one pains me. This is another one that pains me. Riddell has fought the better competition, and obviously come out on the wrong side of most of those. Looked good doing it, but come out on the wrong side of most of those.
I can't. I have to stop you there. I don't think he's come out on the wrong side. I just think here's the thing. It's his striking is okay. He's good. Drew Dober, I don't know if he won against Drew Dober. A little salty with that one. I didn't bet on it, but I just don't think that was right. And then against Fiziev, he just got pieced up.
Got finished, yeah.
And I think Jalen Turner is a better striker than Fiziev.
Yeah.
And then pair that with the ground game, which Riddell tends to wrestle. If he wants to wrestle Jalen Turner, he's going to welcome him because he's going to snatch his neck. You can already kind of tell the side I'm leaning on here. And this is actually one of my more confident picks. It's going to be Jalen Turner. Turner also has a ridiculous 4-inch reach advantage and a ridiculous 7-inch height advantage. 6'3" to 5'7". I do not know what's going to happen in this fight, how it's going to end. I'm going to predict to Jalen Turner decision, but I would not be surprised if he wins by sub. A late desperation shot from Riddell goes wrong into a guillotine, into a back take, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I'll be surprised by that. I feel like at this stage, you're better off leaning into the KO for Jalen Turner in the first 2 rounds. I just feel like if it's going to decision, I feel like he's gonna start fading at least come round 3 because he's another weight bully. The dude is huge, and he's also someone that's shown that if you land flush, you could hurt him. So I'm a little, I don't know. I'm a little concerned about this fight. I definitely, my heart is with Riddell, so I have to make the case, but my official pick is Turner as well.
Here's the thing. It's kind of like how we were talking about earlier with the reach for Gabe Green and the Ian Gary fight. So he's at a 4-inch reach disadvantage already. And then punching up 7 inches, that's tough. I don't know if he's going to land all that much. He's probably going to have to try and result to go into the body.
Slow it down. Kick those legs. Yeah, slow it down and get to him later, especially mixing things up. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. But I definitely see more times than not Jalen Turner just landing like a damn pinata out there in the first round. and no matter how, if Riddell wins this, he's going to have to go through hell to get it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I'm glad we're on the same page here.
Pedro Munoz versus Sean O'Malley. This is if there's been a fight where, well, no, let me rephrase this. If there's ever been a fighter that I can point to and say, you know what? The UFC is still interested in creating stars. It would be Sean O'Malley. And my reason for saying that is I cannot think of anyone that has had a more tailored matchmaking situation than Sean O'Malley. I think this is a match made in heaven for his style. I think he's gonna light up Pedro Munoz, but Watch out for the leg kicks. I think that's always the narrative, and just in general, the narrative. Whenever whenever Sean O'Malley's fighting, that's going to be the thing to look out for. But Pedro Munoz is legit. He went kick for kick with Jose Aldo, and of course, he ended up being the slower guy in those exchanges. But it's Jose motherfucking Aldo, and he was taking those leg kicks. Pedro Munoz is not going anywhere. This is going to be similar, in my opinion. Now, I don't think he's going to style on him the way he did with Chris Moutinho, but the style of fight, as far as putting it on him and Sean O'Malley having to go back and absorb that pressure, I think this can be interesting. This might be a spot for live betting to try to get a nice line on Pedro Munoz going into the third if things are turning out that way. But I also see, for the most part, Sean O'Malley should be able to keep him on that striking edge and just really pepper him from the outside. This is going to be a fun one. And Sean O'Malley haters, I think they're going to be sad at the end of the night. But I could see avenues to victory for both of these guys, so it makes it super exciting. My official pick for this betting line, I'm going to say Sean O'Malley minus 135.
Oh my goodness. No, 2 minus 240. Yeah.
What? No, I'm hammering. I'm hammering. You got to throw something on Pedro Munoz with a line like that.
Yes, I agree. Even though I think O'Malley is going to style on him. Another situation with the significant height and reach advantage for O'Malley, 5'11" to 5'6", and then 72-inch reach to 65. So pretty significant in both areas there. But the thing is, I feel like Pedro might be smart and he might try to take him down.
Yeah.
I think so. Even though we haven't seen too much of that, the leg kicks and the threat of a takedown might be there for Munoz. And if you get O'Malley down, I don't know if he's going to get up.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see if Munoz can hold his own on the feet. He can hold his own, but with the reach disadvantage and the way O'Malley's striking is, it's going to be tough. But O'Malley doesn't cover his face up. He was not. He was getting hit by Moutinho in the third round. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's going to be interesting. I'll probably have no money on this fight unless I put like a half unit on Munoz.
Yeah, I think that's a good bet. Honestly, I'm surprised it's that wide because I think Pedro Munoz gets a lot of shit. Yeah, I must have forgot. Like this dude is in all his fights, regardless of if he ends up losing. Especially he's been losing a lot lately. These are dog fights.
UFC has not given him any favors in schedule. Okay, last 5: lost to Aljamain Sterling, lost to Frankie Edgar, win against Jimmy Rivera, that was a favor. Lost to Jose Aldo, lost to Dominic Cruz. Like what? Come on.
Jimmy Rivera is no favor. Hey, Jimmy Rivera is no favor. And you can tell I trained at Tiger Showman's.
But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. I just wouldn't count Munoz out so quick here. Yeah, I think he can offer us something. And I'm very interested to see how this plays out. We'll see.
That's a fun one. Sean Strickland versus Alex Pereira. This is another one.
Get into that. I found out who those fighters were that were training with Bautista, and it was actually 3 in the room.
Damn.
Cannonier next weekend, O'Malley, and Barberena. That's what.
Nice. And what is that? What gym is that?
MMA Lab.
There we go. That makes sense. Why did I think Cannonier was at Syndicate? Was he ever at Syndicate?
I do not know, my friend. That's a good question.
That's tough. The MMA
Lab is the only thing listed for him.
Cool.
But
all right.
This next fight is the fight I think is the fight of the night. Pereira against Strickland. First thing, I need you to tell me what you think the odds are.
Dude. I want to make this clear. The reason why fans are invested in Alex Pereira and the reason why the bookies are going to be leaning towards Sean Strickland are 2 different things. Let me make that clear. I'm going Sean Strickland minus 165. And if it's the other way, I'm auto betting this. Go ahead, tell me.
115 minus 115.
Wow. Yeah, I'm definitely not betting on that. That's crazy.
I think there's a very big misconception of can't speak. Sean Strickland not having a ground game.
Yeah, for sure.
Very, very incorrect. The man's a black belt. And, you know, he comes out of one of the best gyms.
Yep.
And listen, Alex Pereira is my guy. I've bet on him every single fight since he's got back into the UFC or got into the UFC. I don't think this is the one. I think they're
Me neither.
sleeping on Strickland here. I think, and I was watching this interview while I was preparing for the Curtis fight because he obviously trains in the same gym as him. They're really close friends.
Mm-hmm.
And Curtis was talking about, he got asked a question. So I know that you're fighting this weekend, but I have a question about what you think about your teammate, Sean Strickland's fight next weekend. He was like, man, everyone at the gym has been trying to talk to Strickland, and everyone's been telling him, don't make this fight hard on yourself. All you need to do is take the man down, and you might be able to handle him there and just keep him on the ground. And everyone's trying to talk some sense into him. That's almost word for word what he said. And just that alone made me think. And I'm like, okay, this gym is smart. They have been training with all the Dagestanis over the past couple months, preparing Curtis for yesterday's fight with Vieira. And obviously that worked. Now, I think Strickland is training his wrestling with those same Dagestanis. I could be wrong, but I'm just gonna throw it out here. I'm probably gonna have a bet on Strickland.
Yeah, I
It's not
think
gonna
you
be
have
anything
to.
major, but I think I have to, given experience. That's one thing, and he's younger. The reach disadvantage and height disadvantage come into play here. He has a 4-inch reach advantage and height disadvantage against Pereira. We'll see, man. It's gonna be a firework of a fight.
I was so bummed out by guessing the line wrong that I didn't even understand the value. Like there's so much value at that line. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought he'll be closer to minus 200. So that's interesting. I think obviously what makes this bet such a risky bet is it only takes a matter of 2 punches to change and make this a terrible bet. So that's what makes it a scary proposition. But I agree. Logic would say that you should be on the Strickland side of this one.
Strickland's a madman, though. He
Yeah.
he eats punches. The one thing I actually am not a fan of is him sparring so much in training and allowing people to punch him like
Mm-hmm.
that. Um,
Screaming.
that against someone like Pereira, who is cut out of mahogany, the man is freaking built. Um, might not do you so well because he lands like 3 punches on your 3-punch combo. You might be wobbled. I haven't seen Strickland wobbled yet.
Mm-hmm. Yep, me neither.
It's gonna be interesting. I
Oh,
love.
I've seen him get absolutely decapitated by a spinning hook kick, but everyone gets put out by those, so
Yeah.
can't be
Yeah.
too mad. I You actually talked me into Pereira here. I'm picking Pereira. I won't be playing him, but I'm picking Pereira just
How
for
did I
the
talk
for the
you
main
in?
sec. Well, this is why I got you right now. I think there's gonna be no matter what on the feet, the way Sean Strickland fights, forward pressure, right? Forward pressure. Unless he's fighting a wrestler, then we see that backward fighting Sean Strickland. I think if he keeps on pressuring into Pereira, that hook is so nasty, man. The way he landed against Bruno Santos comes to mind. There was multiple times in that fight where I thought he was so close to finishing it.
Uh,
like crazy. So I think a lot of those intercepting shots with the pressure is going to lead to eventual oh shit moment for Alex Pereira.
uh-huh.
But just because he's deciding to not use those skills, like entirely not because that's what should happen.
I agree. I agree.
Co-main
Great.
event time, man, dude. These fights, I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped, dude. Um, Alexander Volkanovski versus Max Holloway 3. I gotta ask you, did you score any of the fights for Max Holloway?
No.
The first two. Okay. I scored the second one for Max Holloway, and I'm very, very biased. I'm just gonna make it very clear.
Okay.
I'm very, very biased. That being said, I'm picking Alexander Volkanovski in this one. I think we've gotten all the tape that we need. What really made me sad about this was watching it back. Um, Volko's so good, man. Like Volko's so good, and he does so much good shit that I think a lot of people take for granted his success versus other people's success against him. And that's what happens to all dominant champions. But man, my heart is with Holloway. I hope he could find another adjustment like he did in the second fight to really blow some things open. I think he's the only person that we've really seen where Volkanovski looked vulnerable against. This fight's going to be awesome. Like, no matter how it plays out, it's going to be awesome. The only thing that will be surprising to me is if Volkanovski pitches a shutout. That's the only thing that would be surprising. But I'm leaning towards Volkanovski. This is going to be insane.
I agree. What do you think the line is?
Thank you for bringing me back to reality, man. I went on a diatribe there. Damn. Minus 140 Volk.
Minus 190 Volk.
Wow.
There's
value. There's value. There's value.
I agree. Volk is just, here's the thing. I kind of scored this the same, I mean, not scored this. I kind of thought of this one the same way I thought of the Joanna and Weili Zhang fight. We have seen improvements in Weili Zhang's game over the past 3 fights. And Joanna has been gone. So she hasn't improved. Same exact thing here. I think we've seen improvements from Volk, even though he's already freaking amazing. We've seen improvements in his aspects of game in his past like 4 fights. With Max, I just see the same Max, the one that dominates people on the feet. That's it. I haven't seen anything else. Not that he's needed to do anything else, but I would prefer that.
If anything, we've seen him getting touched more in his last 2.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Volk can just take him down and probably submit him. For sure. I would not be surprised if that was the outcome of this fight, a submission from Volk. I don't think it's going to be as much of a dogfight this time.
Really? Wow. That's a hot take right there.
Yeah.
I think Max needs to be at full volume capacity. Like he needs to really pressure the fuck out of Volk. And that's the only way he's going to be able to start landing.
Work. I don't think it's going to work.
I think it is.
If he overpressures and throws these haymakers, he's going to get taken down instantly.
But it's not about over. You're right though. You're right. He's sort of leaning into that. But I feel like a majority of that though, like why I feel the pressure is what is needed, is because he needs to have him going back the same way he did in the second fight, to put him in a position where he doesn't have the time to feint forward and sort of set up his shots in that way. But yeah, man, this is tough. I don't know about that submission angle. I don't know about it. Something about I don't think we've seen that like out of Holloway defensively. I don't think we've seen him look vulnerable in those spots. But what happened?
Don't tell them. It's a secret. Okay. It's like gonna be like a plus 16
between you and I. Between you and I. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Oh man, I'm just glad we're getting to see it again, because everyone's trying to tell me that it's not like deserved, and I'm like, you're fucking crazy. These are leaps and bounds the 2 best guys in the division, and the fact that Volkanovski is so great should not make you think less of this matchup.
Exactly. Couldn't get better.
What's your pick?
Volk.
All right.
Submission.
All right. Next up, Adesanya versus Cannonier, the main event. This is a fight that I feel like has been in the making for years. Like years, this fight has been in the making.
I agree. They've been trying to line this up for a little bit, but Cannonier lost his fight against Whitaker. That's what stopped it. That's what stopped it. What do you think the line is?
Adesanya minus 210.
Adesanya minus 365.
Damn. That's a casual line right there. That's a casual line.
Yeah, I do agree with it being a casual line. I do agree that there's value, but I will not touch the value because I just ultimately think Adesanya is going to stay champ for a long time. I think he's going to. What's Cannonier's game? The striking, the power. But what's Adesanya's game? The elusiveness, the striking. Yeah. It's what Adesanya does counters what Cannonier does good. Sorry. It's getting out of the way of these punches. It's getting out of firefights with people that he doesn't need to be in firefights with. And that's similar to what he did against Romero. Even though the fight was boring, he stayed out of the firefights. He ate a couple punches, but stayed out of the firefight. I would compare this to the Paulo Costa fight. Same like game, striking. It's mainly the striking. And that's just not, unfortunately, if Adesanya wasn't champion, I think maybe it would still be Whitaker or it would be Cannonier.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I think we needed that in a 5-rounder, right? Because even with his arm getting jacked up the way it did early, that fight was super close and he was coming on late in the third. So honestly, man, this fight is dicey. I don't think this is on the same level as Paulo Costa. I think I really like Cannonier's pressure and his process on the feet way more than Paulo Costa. Do I think that's going to come to bear in this one in a big way? No. Like, I think this goes to decision just because of a lot of things you were saying as far as Adesanya's ability to sort of diffuse things on the feet. But it's going to be, I think this fight is going to be better than Adesanya Whitaker too. I think Cannonier, just with the way he fights, is going to give Adesanya a lot more to work with, in my opinion. But what I'm excited for is Cannonier has really showed that there's a real sort of chip that he carries, especially when he's in a fight that he feels is slipping away from him. That I think a lot of the challengers so far haven't been able to sort of dig into that side of things to try to really take it from the champ in that way. I think his power is very, very, very significant. I think coming down from heavyweight to where he's at now, it's a weird career path, but I think it in his specific style, I think he's one of those guys that if you put him in a weight class 2 divisions down, obviously biologically that won't work. But if you did, his game won't work in MMA, right? Like his process won't work. It won't be something that you'll necessarily say this is the way you should go about doing things. But for him specifically, and his power and his ability to sort of really make people second guess whether or not they want to be in those exchanges, I think really is going to make some interesting moments in this fight. Do I think it's going to be fun? Honestly, not really, but I think there's going to be fun moments in this one that could make it feel a little better or closer than it should.
That analysis was great. That was great. And you know what? I'm not going to discredit Cannonier. I don't think he's going to have the same situation as Paulo Costa. I was going to say, you don't think he's capable of drinking wine the night before the fight?
Very capable. Man lived in Alaska for a period of his life. That's all you've got to look forward to at night, brother.
Well, I'm just excited to see how Cannonier comes out. Man, bald Cannonier at light heavyweight was a sight to be seen. So if he comes out as bald Cannonier, I don't know. I might have some questions.
That's another development that's wild. Like if you showed pictures to someone that doesn't watch, like, hey, they're like that, they're related, but that's not the same dude, right?
Yeah, against Kutalaba, though, that's the one that comes to mind when he's just like walking him down. A bald Cannonier walks you down. Oh man,
he's a mythical fighter, man. He's up there with C-level Kane.
And if we see him come to weigh-ins bald, I might have to sprinkle.
Just the bald hedge, you know.
Yep, the bald edge. He's more aerodynamic.
Shout out to Krillin. Yes, sir. You just tend to be, things just bounce off, you know.
That's why I buzz cut.
Oh man, are you going with Izzy in this one too?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Izzy.
I think if you're laying chalk on Izzy in this fight, you should have got it in the last one, in my opinion. But I don't know. I feel like those lines are getting inflated by the casuals. That's my opinion on this.
I will let him inflate him.
Yeah.
Let him inflate him. We'll take the other side.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Or just earlier.
Yeah, man. Even though that's not our pick, it's worth the value sometimes. There's a couple of these that I think might be worth the value. My biggest one being that Gabe Green spot. I'm salivating, man. I'm salivating on that one. I don't know. Maybe I'll sprinkle on round 3 submission in that one too, because that's probably going to be a really big line as well for
Yeah,
Gabe Green. But
exactly.
we'll see. We'll see. But is there anything else you want to touch on before we get out of here, my friend?
No, I mean we just broke down this card, and I think we did a pretty decent job doing not as much tape as it would be like on a Tuesday or Wednesday, but we gave the fans a little bit of a sneak peek and a little breakdown with it too. Always thankful for being on the show. Appreciate you so much.
Yes, sir, bro. As always, it's a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for taking the time to hop on and do this with me. This has been awesome. It always fucking is, and it just keeps getting better. This is fun as hell, man. Like it doesn't have to be always this buttoned up show. Sometimes we get a little bit off the rails. It's 11:53 here in New York. You got to get a little crazy sometimes, and I think we did a good job, even with the top collar button open.
Uh-huh.
We still got our analysis hat on too. So yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on. I'll let you plug your stuff again in a second. But I really appreciate all the support and love I'm getting from all of you guys. And it starts with a lot of the different people I had on this show. I feel like you guys have shown me love in return just for our mutual sort of benefit for one another. And I just really appreciate you and everyone else who's been shouting me out and letting people know to check out my stuff. I really appreciate it. And all the love that I've been getting has been super humbling. The fact that I hit 350 is crazy. The time it took me to go from getting to 200 versus getting to 350, it's almost was half. So I really appreciate everyone and all the stuff you guys have been doing to sort of prop me up, because hey man, I'm just a dude having fun with it, and I feel like I'm learning so much along the way, and the fact that I'm able to be on this crazy ride with all of you folks has just been super awesome. So shout out to you, shout out to Eric Betch Fight, shout out to Arwen for coming on always.
Sure.
It's just been so fun to see the growth of everyone around me, as well as the growth of this goddamn show, baby. So shout out to everyone that looks out and shows me love. It really does not go unnoticed. So thank you so much to all of you guys that watch, especially if you're still here right now. Make sure you give us a like. Make sure you give us 5 stars, baby. We got to get those ratings up there. So make sure you send them over. Thank you so much again for everything you guys do. You could check out my other stuff at Negron MMA on Twitter. If you want to push me over the top, let's start getting towards 4, baby. And you
Better
could
follow.
also, yes, sir, you better follow for all this free content you're getting. And you could also find the brand at OTS Media Co. on all platforms, OTS Media on YouTube. We got coverage of every damn sport you could think of. So if you're a degenerate, come get your analysis, baby. We got it. So thank you so much for tuning in as always. Please, my guy, tell them where they can find your picks, because you've been absolutely killing it.
So it's at WizzBets on Twitter. I do MMA, MLB, NBA, almost any sport you could think of, to be honest.
Tennis, foosball, wiffle ball. This man plays everything. So and comes out on top more often than not. So tune in, please.
We try. But no, I mean, I was telling you this earlier, like about a week or two ago, and I remember when I was first starting out, you were the first person to have me on a show or a podcast, and it's just been growth since then. And the stuff you told me after that first podcast about just keeping on, like, keeping on. That saying, it's true. Put your head down, go to work, and you'll see results. And I really appreciate the support you guys have been giving me.
Thanks, man. Thanks. You really didn't have to do that, because that was between you and I. And I swear, I'm not here to be that guy or prop myself up and say, hey, I did this, or hey, I did that. That was honestly between you and I. And I appreciate you mentioning that, because it really does come from the heart, dude. I saw it then, and I still see it now. So keep doing your damn thing. And shout out to everyone that shows that love and support, man. We're both going to keep on growing up in a beautiful way. So make sure you keep showing that love, and you'll keep getting some more awesome content. UFC 15 breakdown coming out very soon, as well as looking forward to UFC 15 and a half, first event in the UFC that took place in Japan. And we've got, listen to this matchup, man. Listen to this matchup. Maurice Smith versus Randy Couture. Hell of a fight that I'm hyped to break down. So make sure you follow me and follow the MMA Archive for all of your old school and new school MMA breakdowns. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Y'all have a good one. Peace.
Peace.